Contreras. I hope I pronounced that right. So I'm going to bring her in and let her tell you her story. Okay. All right. 1 second. Okay. Angelique, can you hear me?
I can, Mike. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So I want to tell the audience a little bit about what's going on. And then I have the video of what happened queued up so we can share it with them. But you live in West Palm Beach, Florida, I believe.
That is correct.
Okay, great. Now go ahead and tell the audience what happened to you, I think like 3 weeks ago. Go ahead.
So on the 12th of February at 10:30 at night, I was putting my kids to bed, just wrapping up the night routine with them, and we had a knock at the door. My husband actually was the one that answered the door initially and came and got me upstairs, and I thought he was joking. And I ended up going downstairs to answer the door, and there were unclothed or ununiformed officers at my door with a flashlight in my face. And I asked them to identify themselves. And the first thing the detective said to me was, "What do you want to see? My badge, my gun, or my handcuffs?"
Okay. And what was the reason that they showed up?
So the reason why the officer was at my door was because of a Facebook post. I had shared a screenshot of Palm Beach Post article stating that spectators who are unable to wear a mask are now moved to the basement of the garage. And I clearly stated that it's time for us to recall our commissioners in that post. A friend then commented further down the line and said, well, kind of like Maxine Waters said, it's time to get in their faces, make them feel uncomfortable, show up at birthday parties and weddings. And I just commented, I agree. And he then commented a joke saying, well, I'm just the kind of person that would just want to leave hundreds of bags of garbage on their lawn. And the only 3 words that I replied to his comment were thousands of masks. And that is why the cops came to my house at 10:30 at night.
That is creepy. That is so creepy that for Facebook posts, you can have the cops show up at your door in the United States of America. Now, we've seen videos of this in places like Australia. We saw a woman get arrested in Australia for a Facebook post about her saying she didn't want to wear a mask. You've seen similar things happen over in the UK. But for people that don't know what's going on or they haven't heard anything about this, I want to show the video so that people can see what the interaction was like. And yeah, I'm gonna let you guys check it out. And let me just share my screen here, and then we'll discuss a little bit more afterwards. Okay, I gotta click the audio button here. Sorry, I should have had this queued up already. Here we go.
Hi, Angelique. Yeah. Detective Horton with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. How are you?
Do you have any identification on you?
What do you want? Badge, gun, handcuffs,
okay.
Things. So, all right. Well, the reason why we're here is bothering you on a Friday night is I guess you and some guy named Anthony were posting on social media that you were going to go trespass on a county commissioner's property, dump garbage on her property.
I didn't say that I would dump garbage on her property.
Well, that was the discussion that you guys were having, right? Okay. That's the discussion you guys were having. So the
no,
reason,
it wasn't.
I mean, I can show you the post.
I plead the fifth.
Okay. That's fine. So, trespassing is a crime. Dumping garbage on people's property is a crime. So, don't do it. Okay. But
is that why you all are here?
Yeah. Today's day and age, man, you're talking about trespassing on,
Didn't talk about trespassing, but okay.
Going on somebody's property is trespassing, right?
I didn't say any of those words.
Okay. All right. That's cool. All right. Have a good night. Don't trespass. It's a crime.
So all of this for that? This is just fear mongering. You know that, right?
Fear mongering of what?
Of a citizen for nothing. For nothing.
Okay. Sorry you feel that way.
I do. I'm putting my kids to bed, and you're wasting tax dollar money to come out here and
tell you not to commit a crime. Yes.
I'm not committing a crime, and
no, I'm telling you not to commit a crime.
Right, and I'm not planning on committing a crime.
Then that's even better. Then we're done.
Okay, I appreciate it, officer.
Awesome. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Can I get everybody's badge number?
Sure. 33093.
33093 and your name? Officer, you're on my property, so your name?
Horton, Horton.
Okay, your name, officer, that were hiding in the corner there?
Stockwell, 18352.
Okay, and this woman that was on my property as well? She's not a civilian. She was on my property. I'd like to know her name.
Mine's on 19477.
I'm sorry?
19477.
But what was the civilian's name? She was on my property. I think I have a right to know that. No, she was on, this is my property. I have a right to know who this woman is.
Here's the deal. We've identified all the law enforcement officers on your property.
But I would like to know who the stranger was that was trespassing on my property.
She is not a law enforcement officer.
But she was trespassing on my property.
We've identified all the law enforcement officers.
Is that right? She was trespassing on my property. She didn't have
she was right here on the sidewalk. That's not trespassing.
Sir, she was not standing on the sidewalk. She was actually right there, and I have video evidence of it.
Ma'am, we're not going to debate curtilage. Listen.
Does the woman work for the county?
You pled the fifth?
Does the woman work for the county?
Are you changing your mind?
Does the woman work for the county? I think I have a right to ask questions when you're at my house.
Okay.
She was on my property.
She was on public property.
No, she was on my property. I have video of it, officer.
We're not going to argue. We've identified all the law enforcement officers.
Who was the woman that was on my property?
Have a good night.
Not on the sidewalk.
Have a good night, ma'am.
How do you get to ask questions of me, but I don't get to ask questions of you?
No, you pled the fifth, remember?
Officer, you're playing a game?
I'm not playing a game.
You are playing a game. You are playing a game. I asked you who this woman was that was on my property.
She's a civilian. And I've answered that question.
But she was trespassing, so I'd like to file trespass on this woman. She's not allowed on my property ever again.
Okay.
Who's going to take the trespass report?
Okay. Well, if she was on your property...
She was, officer. I have a video of it. Can I get a trespass report for this woman? I know. Can you get your sergeant? I'd like a sergeant. I'm requesting a sergeant at my house. Do I need to call the cops on the cops?
Yet another very concerning.
Little Tyler Zed there. That's crazy. That is wild. So what was the fallout from that? What has happened since then?
It's always cringeworthy to watch yourself back in videos like that. But I did do the day after that. It was on a Friday. I did do a Freedom of Information Act request for all of the documents. And then I also did an internal affairs investigation on this because I have been a political dissenter of Palm Beach County commissioners all year during this, I don't even like to call it a pandemic, fighting against the businesses being locked down and shut down, against the mask mandate. So I myself have known locally for being vocal, and immediately I felt like it was intimidation and that the county commissioners were using the officers to go and do their bidding. So I started searching and digging and come to find out there is no CAD report, which I'd like people to understand. A CAD report is very vital to a police officer's job. If they are going out to an address, they have to call dispatch and inform dispatch of where they are going. And they also have to call dispatch when they arrive to that location. And there is no such report for that night. I still don't know who the woman was. The officers did not file trespass on that unknown woman. The officers still have not told me who it is that requested for them to investigate into my Facebook post and to come to my house. So there still is a lot of unknowns that are in the air right now.
Yeah, and I find it bone chilling that this was a thought policing act, right? They were like, make sure you don't commit a crime. I'm just here to make sure that you don't commit a crime because something you said online. So policing your speech and then trying to preemptively prevent you from committing a crime. And then with that woman who I couldn't tell from the video if she's on the property or not, just because it's dark. But
Right.
If she was actually trespassing on your property, a crime actually took place in front of officers and they didn't do anything about it.
Yeah, and that's what was interesting about it, because even, further into the police report, there is a lot of missing information. My husband is from El Salvador and he is very brown. And the officer said that he confronted a white male. They also put the statute for me underneath a domestic terrorist. So the statute that they used for me, that I was going to commit bodily harm or a mass shooting. And it's very scary that they're coming after conservatives and individuals who back the blue, individuals who support our law enforcement. And it's unfortunate that we're dealing with that here in South Florida.
Yeah, they're basically being weaponized. Like you titled the video, the Gestapo. That's what it seemed like. It's wild. And then for the officer who was knocking on your door, he didn't have on a uniform or anything like that. It doesn't look like he showed his badge even, or maybe he showed his badge. That whole thing is just really bizarre. And it would happen in a place that's like, not in a liberal area. I know Palm Beach is pretty liberal, but typically you don't hear about stories like that in Florida.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely something that shook me. Definitely don't want officers at my door. And especially I don't want government to be able to use the police to do their bidding. Unfortunately, we've seen a political atmosphere for many months where the Democrats and the liberals are able to burn things down, able to say whatever they want to say without any recourse. And then we as conservatives, I feel like, are under attack right now in America.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let everybody know where they can find you and follow up on this.
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook under Angelique Contreras. You can also find me on YouTube under that video. I will be posting more updates as we get more information. And then also on Instagram, you can find me under Angelique Contreras as well.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and telling us about what's going on down there in Palm Beach County. I hope everything works out for you. Hopefully that doesn't happen again.
No, we got to make it stop before it keeps going further in America. Thank you, Mike, for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good one. All right. That was, guys, that's weird stuff. We are living in some crazy times here in the United States. It's unreal that this would even happen in what's supposed to be a free country where they're trying to stop you from committing a crime ahead of time. First of all, it's off of a Facebook post. It's just, you can't make this stuff up. But let's continue on with